Hello everyone. Today in this session you will see how we can run our Selenium framework on AWS EC2 instance from Jenkins using the Docker Selenium Grid. So in the previous session we created Docker Selenium Grid locally and we executed our automation framework. So now we are going to set up Docker Selenium Grid in the cloud on AWS EC2 instance. So we are going to see lots of important things as a part of this session. So just watch this session completely. So all these things will help you in the real-time projects and in the test automation interviews as well. So as a first step, we need to sign up for an AWS account. So just search AWS Cloud. So this is the official website. So click on create an AWS account. So here you can use your email address for sign up purpose. So we are going to use this AWS for learning purpose. So you can select this basic support, which is free, and click on complete sign up. So once the account is completely created, you will get an email on your email ID. So just go to AWS console now. So you can click on this sign in to console. So once you complete the sign up and log in into the AWS, next step is to create the EC2 instance. So on the AWS console, you will find different regions available here. So click on the service name. So from left menu, click on instances. Then click on launch instances. So you can provide any name to your server. Then scroll down. Here Amazon Linux is selected. So from here we can select different types of AMI. So these are available for free tier eligible. Okay. So I will keep it selected. Just scroll down. So in the instance type drop down, there are different instances available with the different configuration. So I am going to use T2X large with the 16 GB memory. So we need to connect to this EC2 instance. For that purpose, we need to create the key. So click on create new key pair. Give some name to your key. So this key will be downloaded on your local system. So here allow SSH traffic from, instead of anywhere, I am going to select my IP for security purpose. So here we don't need to change anything. Okay, so directly click on launch instance. So our instance is in running status. So next step is to connect to this EC2 using the .pem file. So for that purpose, open the Windows PowerShell on your local system. So first go to the location where you downloaded the .pem file. So from here, just run this command ssh space -i, provide your pem file name space EC2-user. So this is the by default user created on the EC2 instance @ public IP of our EC2 instance. So that you can get from the details section. Press enter. So permission for this pem file are to open. So we need to make it private first. So this is the first command. One more command we need to run. Hit enter. Okay, so now again we can run our same command to connect to this EC2 instance. So now we have successfully connected to our EC2 instance. So next step is install Maven, Java, Jenkins, Docker and Docker Compose. So all these things will not be available on our EC2 instance. Okay, so there are some instances which will have pre-install all these softwares. Okay, but we have selected the instance which do not have anything from this. So we need to install manually all these things with the help of commands. So I will provide all the commands to you. So let's run the command one by one. So first let's check if Java is available or not. So first let's download the Java 17. So next let's install the Maven. Next thing is we will require Jenkins, Docker and Docker Compose. So first let's install Docker and Docker Compose. So I got disconnected. So I'm going to reconnect to EC2. and we need to make it executable. Okay, so this is done. So we can check the Docker Compose version now. So now let's install the Jenkins. So we are going to install, this is the latest version as of now, Jenkins 2.462. So next thing here, we will require Git as well, right? So run this command sudo yum install git core. Okay, so most of the things whatever we will require to run our automation on this EC2 are installed on our EC2 now. So now next thing is to access the Jenkins, and we need to create one Jenkins parameterized job. So Jenkins will be by default running on the 8080 port. So just copy the public IP of our EC2. So currently we have not exposed this 8080 port from our EC2 instance. So that's why we will not be able to access the Jenkins. So what we can do, go to your EC2 instance, go to security, click on this group name. So from here we need to expose one port. So click on edit inbound rules, click on add rule, custom TCP. Here I will provide 8080. Again from my IP, save rule. Okay, so once rule is saved, we should be able to access the port number 8080 now. So just refresh it. So I think we did not start our Jenkins service. So again, first enable it at the boot and then run this start command. So this should start our Jenkins on 8080 port. Okay, so let's try again. Go here and refresh. Okay, so we are able to see the sign in page for Jenkins now. So here we need to add our admin's password. So the password will be available at this location. So we just need to access it. So again, run command sudo cat and provide the location, hit enter. Let me add it again. So click on install suggested plugin. So it will take some time to install the required plugins. So now we can create our first admin user. Let's say at user 1. And this is my password. Save and continue. So this will be our Jenkins URL. Save and finish. Start using Jenkins. So on our local system also we have set Java home and Maven home, right? So go to the manage Jenkins. Go to tools. So here click on add JDK. This is my Java _ home. So you can check where your Java and Maven are installed on the EC2. So just run this cd user. So here you will have different folders. So again go to cd lib. So Java must be installed under the JVM. So if you go here JVM, so you can see our Java is present in this. Okay, similarly we can add for the Maven. And check this checkbox. So Maven will be available in this share folder, user share and Maven. So now click on apply and save. So we will require the Maven integration plugin to run our Maven project. So go to the plugin section, go to available plugin. So this is the plugin we will require. Click on install. So Jenkins is restarting now. So sign in with your username and password. So Maven integration plugin is available in our install plugin section now. So let's go to the dashboard. Click on new item. So let's say this is my Amazon automation. Click on Maven project. Click on OK. So mainly we are going to add these parameters. So select this checkbox. This project is parameterized. So from this drop down we are going to use the choice parameters. let's say sanity and regression. Similarly, we can create different choice parameters for our other parameters. Then this will be our browser parameters: Chrome, Firefox, Edge, parallel mode, no or yes. So no will be by default selected. For maximum parallel test 1, 2 and 3. Then maximum retries again 1, 2 and 3. Run mode if you are running on the Docker or if you are running on the local system. And this is our hub IP. So this value will be dynamic. So in real-time projects, we will add multiple values like this in this drop down. So user can select the IP on which he want to run our automation, and automation will run on that specific EC2 instance. Okay, so for now I have added this EC2 instance public IP. Okay, so all these values we need to add in our automation framework config.properties file or pom.xml file before starting our automation. So in the last session we have used batch file, right, to update the parameter values. So this time we are going to use the shell script. Okay, so first click on apply and save. So we will add our GitHub or GitLab URL after some time. So this is done. So we need to set up the Docker Selenium Grid using the docker-compose.yml file. Okay, so first we need to create this docker-compose.yml file. So Docker Compose we already created in the previous sessions. So same file we are going to use. So this will contain the hub service, Chrome service, Firefox and Edge service, and we have added the latest images for the hub and node services. Okay, so we don't need to change anything here. So important thing is we need to create one shell script file to update all the parameter values and IP. So here is the batch script that we created in the previous session. So we are going to create the shell script file now. So I have already created that file. So we have already created all the test runner files under this test runner folder, the batch file or suite files. So in the shell script I have added this file. So what we are going to do is we will do the same thing what we do in the bash script. So first thing is to navigate to our project directory. So when you are running from the local, we are providing our local location of our automation project. But when you are going to run our framework from the Jenkins and it will clone the GitLab repository, it will have that project in the Jenkins workspace. Okay, so that value we can give. Then we need to start the Docker Selenium Grid first. Okay, so before we start our execution, we need to run this docker compose.yml file. So it will create hub and different nodes as per our requirement. So we are going to scale our containers also. Scale. So this value will be dynamic. So in the Jenkins we have this parameter for running the test in parallel. So we can create containers equal to the number of parallel tests. Okay, so if you are running 2 tests in parallel, we will create 2 containers. If you are running 3, then create 3 containers. So we can directly access the value for this parameter from the Jenkins job. So just use the dollar here and provide your parameter name. So this is the first step. Set up our Docker Selenium Grid first. So here I have provided this sleep 10, means it is going to wait for 10 seconds so that all the services whatever we have added in the docker compose.yml file will be ready. Then we have provided the config and pom.xml file locations. So whatever value user will select for all these parameters in the Jenkins job, we are going to update in this config.properties file with the help of shell script. So how we are going to replace the values in this config.properties file? We will use the sed command. So sed command will allow you to update the values or edit the file without any editor. Okay, so it is going to find the line with this browser. Okay, search for the line starting with the browser in the config.properties file. Okay, once it is matched equal to dot star, that means look for this line equal to anything after the equal to sign. So currently we have browser is equals to Firefox. So this value can be anything. Okay, so match a line containing browser equal to anything. If it is matched, then assign browser is equal to $browser. So whatever user will select for this browser parameter in the Jenkins job. Similarly for the environment, parallel mode, maximum parallel test, maximum retries and run mode. And in the pom.xml file we are using different sanity and regression suite. So this is the same command. We are going to replace a suite file sanity. Instead of that, whatever user will select for this suite parameter. So once everything is ready, we are going to run our automation with the help of Maven clean test. So once execution is done, we can take down our containers. Okay, so whatever Selenium Grid you have set up in this first step, we are going to take all the containers down at the end of execution. Okay, so this is our RunAutomation.sh file. So we will simply run this file from our Jenkins job, and it will run all the things from this sh file one by one. So next thing is to push our project from local into the GitLab repository. Okay, so for that purpose we will require authentication also. So in the GitLab you can do it using the personal access token, or you can use the SSH key. So I have logged in into my GitLab account. So let's create a new project first. Create blank project. Give some name here. So this should be public repository. Create project. Okay, so this will be our remote repository, and which is currently empty. So for this repository, either we can use the HTTPS or we can use the SSH. So for the SSH, we need to add our SSH key in this preferences. You can click on SSH keys. So we need to generate SSH key on our local system, and public SSH key we need to add in our GitLab account. So open the command prompt and just run this command SSH -keygen. So hit enter. So it will create two files. One is id_rsa, that will be our private key, and id_rsa.pub, so that will be our public key. So that public key content we need to add in our GitLab account. So this will be our public key, and this is our private key. Just right click, edit with Notepad++, copy all this content, go to the GitLab, click on add new key, and paste the content here. Give some name here, let's say my GitLab key, and this will be used for authentication and signing purpose, and here we can set the expiration date. So now we should be able to push our project from local system into this GitLab repository. So on the local system, from the project location, open the command prompt first. So we need to use this git init command. So it will initialize a empty git local repository. So if you check the git status, so there are lots of files that we need to make a part of this local git first, and from local git repository we are going to send to our remote git repository. So git add space dot, so it will add all the files from this project. So first we need to add the remote origin. So git remote add origin. So we can verify that git remote -v. So origin is set for fetch and push operation. Click yes here. So it is going to authenticate with the help of our SSH key. Click yes. So it is pushing now. Okay, so everything is done, master to master. So whole framework project is available in our GitLab repository now. So in the Jenkins, go to configure section, click on source code management, select git here, and add the repository URL. .git. So in the branches we have the master branch, then scroll down. So in the pre-step you can select the execute shell. So here we are going to run our sh file. So first we will navigate to the sh file location. So cd -runner / shell script. So before you execute that sh file, we need to make it executable. So use chmod +x and your file name. Now we can directly run it. So again use the file name to run it. So /runautomation.sh. Small mistake in this sh file, we have to write like this. Okay, just place it. So I need to push this file again to our GitLab repo first. So our Jenkins job is ready. Let's click on apply and save. So before we build this project, we need to expose our Selenium hub port 44405, right? This port we need to expose. So again, in the security group, we need to edit inbound rules, edit port number 4445, save this rule. So click on build button. So it has successfully cloned the project and it has kept that project under where library Jenkins workspace, and this is our project. So we are getting these errors because our project is cloned under this workspace location. So we need to move to this location first before we run our shell script. Okay, so we can update the shell script again. So here we have already added navigate to project directory. So that is available under var. Let me copy this path. Okay, so first we will go to this location, remove this slash, save the file. So I am going to commit and push again. Okay, push is successful. So let's try to rebuild this. Okay, so now we are getting this issue is Docker daemon is running. I think we have not started the Docker service. So let's run this command to start the Docker. So permission denied while trying to connect to the Docker. So this is happening as our Jenkins user do not have permission to access the Docker on the EC2. So what we can do is I am going to run this command sudo user mode ag docker Jenkins. So this will simply add our Jenkins user in the Docker group, and I need to restart the Jenkins now. I reconnected to the EC2 instance now, and let's check the group now. So our Jenkins user is added now. So let's check the permission for the Docker socket. So just run this command. This means our socket has read and write permission to the Docker group. So in the Jenkins, just refresh again. So let's check now. Yeah, so it is able to run our Docker Compose now. So it is pulling all the services, all the Docker images required for all those services. So Hub, Firefox, Chrome and Edge service. So it will take some time for downloading all these images and creating the containers out of it. So now it is creating the containers. It created the network first. Under the same network, it will create Hub and Node containers. So if all the configuration from the SH file and Docker Compose is correct, then our automation will start on the Docker Selenium Grid. So now it is starting the test cases, but I can see test skipped. So looks like there are some more issues. Our test cases are getting skipped. So I will go to the workspace. So first thing is we need to check the files. So first we can check the pom.xml. Here we have the sanity, so it is got updated correctly. Let's check the config.properties file. So it has updated Docker and grid URL IP here. So still it is not able to run our automation. So guys, I have figured out the issue. So main issue was we are running our Jenkins and Docker Selenium Grid on the same EC2 instance, right? So when both Jenkins and your Docker Selenium Grid on the same system, that time we need to provide the local host. Same as the previous session, our Jenkins was on my local system and on the same system I was creating the Docker Selenium Grid. So at that time we have used the localhost, not the IP of my machine. Okay, so instead of this IP we need to provide the localhost. Okay, so but in real-time projects your Jenkins server will be hosted on different machine and your Docker Selenium Grid will be running on the different automation running with the different IP. That means your Docker Selenium Grid and Jenkins server are running on different machines. So in that case we need to update the IP of automation machine on which you are running your Docker Selenium Grid. So I have commented this line from our sh file, and I have commented out the Maven clean test here and docker compose down command as well. So this we are going to give in the Jenkins build and post build sections. So what changes I have done? So in the pre-steps we will run our RunAutomation.sh file. Okay, so in this file we will just create the Docker Selenium Grid and update the values in the config.properties and pom.xml file. In the build section, here we will give our Maven clean test command. And once execution is done, we have this post step action. So using this execute shell, we will take all the containers down at the end of execution. So now we are able to see in the logs that it is opening two Chrome browsers at the same time. So we can access the hub from here directly at the IP :4445. Okay, so you can see two sessions are getting executed on these two Chrome browsers, and from here we can do the live monitoring. Okay, so I will show you when we can use the IP as well. So if I want to run from my Eclipse or Jenkins job, okay, so in this case I need to provide the IP because there are two different machines. My code is available on my local machine and my Docker Selenium Grid is running on remote machine on the EC2 instance. So add the IP of EC2 instance here. So I will just have to create the Docker Selenium Grid first. So with the help of this docker ps-a command we can check what are the containers currently running. So we need to create the container first. So first let's go to the project location on the EC2 instance. So use cd, that is available under where, right? Under that we have the lib folder, cd lib, cd Jenkins, cd workspace. So here we have this Amazon automation project. So again go to the Amazon automation, and our docker-compose.yml file is available under this docker folder. Let's go to the cd docker. Okay, this is our file. So let's run this file to set up the Docker Selenium Grid. So our hub and nodes are ready. So from the Eclipse I can directly right click on the pom.xml file and run as Maven test. So let's verify the execution. So here you can see two Chromes are executing our test and two sessions are currently executing. So execution is completed. So when we are running on the Docker Selenium Grid on the remote machine, we face the network issues or resource issues. So you should be able to debug those issues by connecting to the EC2 instance with the help of pm file. And as I shown, you can use this docker ps-a command, and you should be able to check the logs also. So just use docker logs and provide the container ID. Let's say I'm going to check for the Chrome. This is, let's say, 2D. So it will show you all the logs when we are executing our test. So you can monitor all the logs from these containers. Similarly, you can use the docker inspect and container ID command to check all the details for the Docker container. Its states, is it running or not, then what image it is used. Okay, so every detail, each and every detail you will find in this inspect command. So from this container it had exposed 7900 to the host port 32822. So using this port also we can do the live monitoring. Another command that we can use is docker stats to check the status, like how much resource a container is using. So currently all the automation is completed, so it is not utilizing any CPU. So here you will be able to see the utilizations of the CPU and memory as well. If I rerun this, so these Chrome services are utilizing the CPU and the memories as well. Okay, and we are not running anything on the Edge and Firefox. That's why there is very little CPU and memory utilization. So your automation may stop in between when you are running lot of tests in parallel on same machine. So the CPU utilization or memory utilization will be high. So at that time your execution can stop in between. So you need to make sure to run a sufficient amount of parallel test on a single machine, considering the memory and CPU you have for that machine. So once you are done with your usage of EC2, make sure to terminate it. So I will select this, and from instance state, click on terminate instance. So that's pretty much from this session, guys. I will see you in the next video soon.